healthcare is such a huge issue point and passion for a lot of folks in ProgCode, and I'm really excited to start this conversation. What we want to get out of this call is essentially learning what are the efforts being done now, what are the stress points of healthcare organizations or focus, and what are the strategies they are doing so we could amplify those strategies and not overwrite it, because a lot of the times technologists, coders in general, tend to create solutions that aren't really needed, and what we want to get from this call is have a focus on amplifying their efforts. And for those who are part of healthcare organizations, what we would want to know is if these efforts can support how can we support you in terms of awareness? Is it through awareness? Is it through amplification? Is it through capacity building? And we would love to know how you envision technology can be that support system for your efforts. So what I want to do now is call on each and every single one, and please introduce yourself, why you're here, if you're part of an organization, what your organization is currently doing, very quickly, and then we could drill down to that, and then after that we will just have a more Q&A portion for the organizations from the community. So without further ado, let's go for Owen. Maybe you could start introducing yourself. Thank you. I've unmuted you, by the way.
Oh, okay, you did. Okay, I saw that. So my name is Owen Carver. I live in Las Vegas. I'm a developer programmer. I run a web development company, and I started something called Las Vegas Give Camp, which was a hackathon for charities. So we raised $300,000 in free tech services in 2 events in 2013 and 2014. And I was starting a collaborative community news platform called allrise.co. Very involved in politics. I ran for Nevada State Assembly last year against the Republican Speaker of the House, got 46% of the vote. I then ran this year for the chair position of the Nevada State Democratic Party. I was about 20 votes away from winning that. And I'm very passionate about finding ways to utilize technology to be the change that we need to see. Particularly, I think everything kind of boils down to communication and education in some form as a root cause for all the challenges that we have. So I think as long as we put our heads together and organize things, we can help be the change.
Thank you. I'm going to mute you now. And Joe, I'm unmuting you. Please introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everybody. I am Joe. I've been with ProgCode since July or so, focusing on our operational, organizational things, onboarding and such. I'm super excited about this project in particular because, hey, it's probably the most significant pain point, quite literally, that most of the world faces. It's something that's extremely relevant and a lot of people are passionate about, and it's something that could definitely use a lot of help. I'm interested in really hearing about the efforts that are already ongoing, the kind of the biggest key pains that people are experiencing, and what the technical solutions could potentially look like to help this. And then for all of this, I'll be putting it into the lens of Maps for Change and other common services that ProgCode here can provide to make this happen.
Thank you, Joe. I'm muting you now. Okay, and Ellen. Unmuted.
Ooh, controlled from without. I just realized that. Hi, I'm Ellen Menlo. I'm working with ProgCode for a month or 2 now, and also I'm based at Civic Hall, which is a civic tech community in New York City. This is a issue that's been an important part of my life for many, many years, but particularly now. And I'm particularly working with a number of grassroots groups in New York State, in New York City in particular, that are working towards trying to get universal healthcare law passed here. So I'm very conscious of what's going on with the groups that are working on that here. That's the main reason that I'm here, and I'm interested. But I'm also interested in the more global issues and what's going on around the country, and sensing that the best way to get this started is through various states. that's kind of why I'm here, and I'm here to support the entire process. I'm a connector. I'm trying to bring in the activists together with the technology to help figure out what the best things are that we can do for them. So.
Okay, I'm unmuting you now. I'm muting you now. And I just realized we grew up in numbers, so I'm so sorry for everyone who may not be able to introduce themselves, but go forward, fast forward to the phones, people who called in as they are part of the organizations, I believe. So 770, please, I'm unmuting you now. Please introduce yourself.
That might be me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hi, yes. Quickly, my name is Stephanie Nakajima. I'm with Healthcare Now. We're the national grassroots single-payer advocacy organization. Just to give you like a quick overview of what we're doing right now, now that the AHCA has been defeated, we're seeing this huge like resurgence of interest in single-payer, especially HR 676, the House bill. So we're about to surpass the number of co-sponsors. We've never had this many co-sponsors before. Gonna soon surpass the number we had during the fight over the Affordable Care Act, which was when it was at its peak. And Senator Bernie Sanders is about to drop his single-payer bill as well in the Senate. So anyway, we're just seeing this huge, interest right now in single-payer as like the democratic alternative that we really hadn't seen before. And right now we're also on April 8th, we're doing like a day of action to bring even more attention, more people into our movement. So I think we have like 36 actions planned in 25 states or something like that. Just lots of actions at state houses and hospitals, and lots of big organizations like Our Revolution and NNU and PDA are signed on. I have sort of a suggestion if you guys were interested, but I'm not going to get to that now. I just wanted to let you know where I'm coming from and what we're doing right now, which is just happens to be a lot because of the defeat of the AHCA and sort of the continuing focus on the ACA as inadequate.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm muting you now, and then I'm switching to 347-8837. Please introduce yourself, where you're from, and why you're here.
Hello, is that me?
Yeah, that's you.
My name is Runa Ray. I'm a doctor with Physicians for Our National Health Program, and I've been organizing around single-payer health, especially in New York State, and I heard about this call like a few minutes ago, so I thought I'd jump on and see what's going on.
Thank you so much. Really awesome to see you here. I'm muting you now and changing to 857-364. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Michael Peterson. I'm with Healthcare Now as well as Stephanie. Stephanie is my wife. I'm here mostly to see how I can support her, getting the most out of this conversation, and also to see how I might, what progressive storage is about, and how I might help with that. I'm a programmer myself. I work as a software architect for a Danish company. So yeah, basically that's why I'm here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm muting out. And lastly, 914-844. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Jeff Miles. I am one of the leaders of the Resistance Media Collective, along with Catherine Jones, I believe you know well, Robbie. We are a network of creatives from very diverse backgrounds. We have graphic designers, photographers, cinematographers, and we partner with progressive organizations to create media assets and help them distribute them to get the message out in various ways. So during the Women's March, we live streamed 35 of the marches that were happening around the world on the Women's March Facebook page. We've done a lot of social assets for the tax march, as well as videos, and we're just actually having our second, we're calling them creative hackathons, a bunch of media folks getting together on a Saturday to make content assets and create like social calendars and things like that. So we're doing that on April 15th for May Day action that's happening in Washington, D.C. and a few other locations around the country.
Thank you so much.
So here's support from the media side.
That is really awesome to hear. Thank you so much. And lastly, I would like to call on Ivan Miller. Thank you so much for being here as well. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Ivan Miller. I am in Colorado and was the executive director of the Amendment 69 campaign to set up a universal health care plan in Colorado. And then when that campaign closed, all the resources transferred to the Colorado Foundation for Universal Health Care. And I'm, again, the executive director of that. We saw the campaign as really building interest and movement. Didn't have funding to get our message out. When our message was out, we were winning, but we were just terribly underfunded. We see ourselves moving it forward. Had a chance to use a lot of technology and communications during the campaign, but everything was siloed and nobody could communicate with anyone. So we have a lot of interest in how to use the technology in a more integrated way in the future. And we plan to move forward and either in 2 or 4 years try to reintroduce the ballot initiative again. That's all.
Thank you so much, Ivan. And I really appreciate all the work that has been done in Colorado Care. ProgCode was there during the first part of it. We helped out, and there's this promise there that we really want to push further. And I guess before we start, for all those who are part of the call, who are in Zoom, we have a chat box here. If you want to speak, we will be doing a stack system. And if you want to type in anything or say anything or comment or ask questions, we will open the floor at some point. Please type in stack to signal that you want to speak out. And I will call on you according to the order of the stack. So without further ado, I would like to open the floor to Ivan. If you could give us a context about your experience in Colorado Care, what worked, what didn't work, and how you think we should move forward, and how can we improve for future initiatives. Please, thank you.
Okay. So what worked and what didn't work? I'm composing this right now. One of the issues we were involved in here is that there wasn't any belief in the state that a state could actually do it. So we drew up a plan, a detailed proposal to show that we could do it, and had economic analyses to show we could do it. The big thing we ran into politically was many legislators and politicians were in favor of us when we were a philosophical group talking about utopia. But the closer we got to reality and challenged the establishment, which was everywhere, they're sitting on the boards of progressive organizations, big donors from the big healthcare industry, politicians, the Democratic leadership put out the word to no one should fund us, and blocked all large national donors from giving us money. So we ran into those realities. What succeeded was when we would digitally or personally go to the people, and we actually had good consultation around for digital communications from some of the people that ran some of the large national organizations. Howard, I'm spacing the last name. And we had good consultation there. We've got some good systems, but each system had one expert in it that knew how to do that, didn't want to learn the other systems. So we had a lot of trouble coordinating between. We ended up with 3 different databases, and the expert in each one didn't know about how to work in the other 2, and we couldn't get them integrated without losing functionality. So going forward, The disadvantage from having to prove that we could do it was we ended up complicated. We ended up having a detailed proposal that we had to explain to show it could be done, and then we were in the weeds. And you can't win this kind of thing and get your message out very easily in the weeds. Now we're in a different position. I think we've established that there can be proposals out there, and we can have a much simpler message. That there's only one real answer for making things less expensive, simpler, and covering everyone. And and when people get that message, then they're supporters. If they get lost in the details of how much do you pay here or there, or go down in all the rabbit holes that I like to say NPR has a different rabbit hole on healthcare you can go down every day. And that distorts, it gets people away from the fact that there's giant corporations that are controlling the system, and the system's run for their profit rather than for healthcare. So we're trying to simplify the message and keep people fired up with things that they can focus on, like the Bernie's bill, HR 676. We're going to be looking at how we can be of support to California, and also doing some local actions around some steps towards getting to universal health care. We ran into the same thing, Bernie had the same experience that every time we went to a board, an organization run by a board, he didn't get support, and that's because the establishment is sitting on every board everywhere, and they're afraid of the conflict. When you go to the people, you get support. If you go to organizations that are really driven by the members, that's where you get support. So our success is going to come from grassroots, not the ruling class. When we look for prominent names, we look for people who have nothing to lose, because the pressure from the ruling class on politicians or anyone with something to lose is enormous. I think that's my quick summary.
Thank you so much for that. Before I continue, does anyone have any questions? If you could stack, please, let me know. Okay. And I think I would like to thank you so much, Ivan. I would like to move on to Runa. If you could, is that the same story here? Is there a focus on 676 right now? And what are the efforts that you're working on at the moment and stress points that you're encountering? Runa, right? 347.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to Stephanie. Is that the same narrative or like issues that you're encountering at the moment, or is there anything you would like to add to that? And also, what are the stress points or initiatives that you're working on right now that you need technological support from?
Hey, I'm sorry. Could you just repeat the first part of your question? I think I was being unmuted when you were talking.
Oh, with what Ivan has been saying a while ago about support for 676, the issue with getting in the weeds, and is that the same thing that you're experiencing at the moment in terms of pushing for universal healthcare, and like what are the issues that you're encountering at the moment in terms of technology, and yeah, just in general, what are the stress points you're encountering too?
Right. Yeah, so to talk a little bit about, the problem with the elite, we have had this problem. Bernie has introduced his bill for the last 13 years, and not a single other senator has signed on to it. We've always had some on HR 676, the House bill, but we've never had any on the Senate bill. But because we're at a point now where, I don't know, people are feeling like the Republican vision of healthcare was rebuked, and Bernie ran on this very popular, single-payer platform. We're actually seeing like a lot of calls for example, Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, who's never signed on to this bill, to actually do so. And there's actually a campaign happening now to get her to sign on to that bill. So I think that like the elite power on, sort of defending the ACA perspective is really starting to crack now, and we want to take advantage of that. And one of the things that we would really like to see, so now I'm going to get into a little bit of like our system. We run on Civi CRM, which is like an open source CRM. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we really wanted to do this like sort of like peer-to-peer fundraising, but rather we want to do a peer-to-peer petition. So basically, it would be just like fundraising, but everybody would like have like a page where they'd have a goal to get like certain number of petition signatures, like do a 100 by 100 campaign where 100 people sign up to do like 100 signatures to get and we could do it like in every district. So it'd be like to get Elizabeth Warren to sign on to the Bernie Sanders single payer bill, or to get a rep, or whatever. And we just think that would be such a powerful tool for us, going for this campaign and also just going forward. Mostly because like the stage of the the single payer movement we're at now is that like 80% of Democrats support single payer and like 60% of the US population. So we're sort of like almost like in an end phase where we could actually push it through if we could somehow leverage, the grassroots power that we have, and demonstrate how many people support it. And also it would be great like movement building exercise for us, because we'd be able to get all those people's info and engage them further down the road in future actions. So yeah, I don't know if this is like within your capacity. And first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for holding this call and caring about single payer. We're like so excited about it. But if anybody wanted to start a project or help us with a project that would allow, or that would be like a plugin for Civi CRM to do a peer-to-peer fundraising or peer-to-peer petition functionality. The good thing about Civi CRM is that, and you probably already know this if you're familiar with it, but if you create a plugin for it, then other organizations can also use this functionality. So it's it wouldn't be just good for us, but for any organization that also CRMs out of Civi. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, that is really awesome, because just so to jump off as well from Civi CRM, it's actually using OSDI format. So I just wanted to echo what Stephanie has been saying, like whatever tool you do for Civi CRM, it can be used by other organizations, not just by Civi CRM, but also from Action Network and ActBlue. All these organizations are using OSDI, which is truly amazing. So if there's a plugin that can be done, it's definitely an amazing thing to behold, since it's generalizable and can be applied to others. And I guess I wanted to ask as well, I'll try to go back to Runa. If you could, is the issue about grassroots and elites in the Senate an issue for you as well in PNHD? And in terms of movement building, what are the issues from your end? And is it now more on capacity and movement building rather than awareness? Is there awareness? Is awareness still an issue at the moment? Or is it a side-by-side issue?
So let me just see if I understand the question. You're asking, is awareness the issue versus what?
Versus capacity building, like how we organize the volunteers or the grassroots.
I think it's both. I don't know. I should say, unfortunately, I think there's still, the amount of awareness on single payer has skyrocketed in the last year, and more probably in the last month. But I still think there's a lot of just ignorance and probably media blackout from on the issue. And sometimes it's kind of like it sounds like technical to people, and it's hard for them to understand. One of the things that we had been working on was to try to develop more educational material that was probably like web-based, like either animations or, I don't know, videos to help people understand. There's a handful now of sort of educational material out there that I think is okay, but I don't think it gets wide enough distribution. And so awareness is one thing. And then in terms of capacity building, I think in talking to the executive director of the New York chapter of PNHP, she says that there's like unprecedented levels of interest in the organization and in the issue, which is wonderful, but you know, they are having a hard time like keeping up. So I think capacity building to incorporate all of the new interest would be a very useful thing to do.
And just to clarify, the New York chapter is the Campaign for New York Healthcare, correct?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, so the organization's based in Chicago. Not every state has a branch, and very few, I don't know, very few have like paid staff. So New York is one of few that has paid staff, and it's certainly like the most active, the most progressive. And now with single payer bills in New York and California, I think New York and California both are under a lot of, you know, they're getting a lot of the spotlight. So yeah, I think New York is a very important place to be focusing energy. I just was in Albany yesterday for this, the lobby day for single payer, and about 700 people came from all over the state, which is very exciting. It was the biggest lobby day yet. The bill has passed in the Assembly for the last 2 years and likely will pass again this year. In the New York Senate, it seems that it's one senator away from being passed, and I think the vote is in potentially in May. So you know, there's a lot of momentum and a strong possibility of single payer happening at the state level in New York, and so I think like any additional support to the effort would be wonderful. I mean, especially in terms of like tech and creative energy, because I think we are, you know, we're lacking in those things, since we tend to be sort of like technical, like policy type people or like medical people and organizers.
Okay, that is awesome. And I wanted to thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to switch to Michael. And from the technological point of view, how are you seeing the needs of Healthcare Now and other organizations in relation to technology and organizing? Is there
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that. There's a lot of noise in the background, and you know, unless there was something specifically for me, I think I'll just stick to what Stephanie said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's specifically for you, actually. And from your point of view as a programmer or as a technologist, in terms of organizing and engagement in Healthcare Now, is there anything in particular that you raise or issues that you're seeing from your standpoint?
Sorry, I still missed the last pass, but as far as I can tell, what you're asking is, being a programmer, is there you know, anything in particular I would like to do?
No, like you're seeing as a source point from your perspective in terms of technology needs.
Technology needs. I believe that technology is a hard thing to use in organizations like these that are traditionally based around labor organizations and stuff. And I think that a network of developers that help to bring some products that are that can do various organizing tasks would be a great asset because of this. But I haven't been much into it yet. I don't have anything concrete that I think this is exactly where we should push. I think that the application Stephanie is talking about is something I think would be valuable and I would really like to do. But I definitely think there's an overall need for people of technical skills to band together and help organizations that have more traditional skills.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm muting you now. And I guess I want to open the floor for comments and questions if there's anyone who wants to speak out. First, thank you so much for PNHP, Healthcare Now, and Colorado Care for speaking. Is there anyone who wants to ask or comment? The floor is yours. And I feel like Ellen, would you want to speak to talk about from your experience, or like any questions?
Actually was just about to stack, but I'm really curious about who the one remaining senator is, because I think last time we spoke it was two, because we're really good at putting that pressure on, so we're happy to do that. Okay, so there are two things. One is I think I'm hearing two different focuses on this call. One is to continue sort of specific states like New York, which is potentially close, although this New York Senate is very interesting. And then, we're seeing more potential in the national stage, although I'm curious as to whether that's like really, really possible with the administration we have. I'm really interested, I'd like to talk to Runa a little bit more about one of the things that happened in our grassroots group particularly, because we are working with PNHP and with the campaign, was that they really want us to go after stories, and we have a lot of the postcards gathering stories, but also specifically there was the resistance in New York particularly about how it would affect small businesses. So we've been getting a major push on getting data for small business saying, no, this will actually help me, and one of the things that we've discussed and I thought existed maybe is a tool that helps them assess the savings or the break even versus what they might assume is a tax that costs them more, and there's no not seeing that against the things that they don't have to pay for. Am I making that up that exists and therefore we should make it, or is there something like that?
Runa, Stephanie, and Ivan, you're all unmuted, so please feel free to speak up.
So this is Runa.
Yeah.
Can you? Oh.
Go for it.
I guess let me answer those questions. Number one, the senator who is remaining is technically registered as a Democrat named Simca Felder, but this person always votes and caucuses with the Republicans. So I don't know the details of the of the New York Senate enough to know whether like the energy should be focused on this like Felder person, or if it should just be focused on like Republicans in general, trying to find like a Republican who's more progressive or like a little more open-minded, or maybe focusing on, I think there's been a little bit of press recently about saying that like, single payer is like a Republican issue also. So maybe like more education on why this is like would appeal to Republicans as well. I don't know. Your second question, was about small businesses. As far as I know, there's no calculator tool that does that. Stephanie might know better than I do, but I know that there's a tool that helps individuals calculate how much savings they'd get, which is really great. But yeah, I don't know of any small business one, and frankly, like I think it'd be interesting to have it be for big businesses too, because I think like all businesses will save lots of money, and it would be kind of fascinating to be able to calculate that. I'm sure it'd be a different calculation, but I think that'd be a really neat thing. I mean, in general, in terms of what our like asks might be, I think I would probably have to discuss with like the executive director of the Metro New York PNHP chapter to see what she thought, because she knows like what's going on more generally than I do. But yeah, but I mean, I'm still happy to talk now, and I appreciate this call.
Thank you so much. Ivan.
Yeah, yes, we had it was a central part of our campaign. We had a calculator on the website for both businesses and individuals, and that persuaded a lot of people. Our biggest donor base was small businesses and self-employed, which on the surface looked like they were going to pay a huge tax until they did the calculation, and they'd say, "Oh my God, these taxes are too big." They'd come back 5 minutes later saying, "I'd save money." The calculator project was actually very difficult for us. Everybody said, it's as simple to do, and it's not. It's not just the technical part. Putting together it ended up that we kept trying to assign it to somebody because I didn't think I had time, and then I realized that it needed a central person that understood all aspects to pull it together. You really have to understand the bill. You have to understand businesses and business taxes. You have to get a programmer who can put this together, and the programmer doesn't understand these things. So when you take a formula that makes sense to someone like me, and have a programmer alter it to put it in programming language, there's some assumptions in there that would go haywire. So, the whoever the project leader is needs to really work with the programmer, and then to make it user friendly is another whole problem. We'd think it's user friendly, but you get all kinds of feedback about how to make it more user friendly, and the comparison to what's going on now. What's going on now is so crazy, it's hard to compare to. So again, there's some challenges there. I'm doing a little work with California right now and helping them set up a calculator. And unfortunately, somebody took the calculator down from our old campaign website, and I'm trying to get it put back up. We're leaving the website up. But it is very important. It's actually much easier to do for business. Business is big winners. Very hard to get the word out to business because businesses rely on the Chamber of Commerce, who's in bed with the insurance industry and opposed to us. And you have to go to business in a grassroots matter. So the calculator's important. I'd be glad to, if other states want to do it, to put together a mini group so when I communicate with California, I can give you the information, and I'd be glad to give advice about how to put together the team that it takes for a calculator, which includes technology, and part of technology is user-friendly interface. But the other part is you really have to have policy people, and then mission-driven people to know how it fits with the mission.
Thank you, Ivan. Stephanie, do you want to comment on that too?
Yeah, I don't know if, just to reiterate what Runa was saying, I know of just the individual calculator. I don't know of any business calculator that exists. I don't think one exists. It'd certainly be an interesting project to see. And just to comment briefly on the feasibility of single payer at the national level, we certainly don't think that it's going to happen within the next couple of years. We understand that we're sort of in a long game here. I think though that these are the moments I think that we have to capitalize on actually building it, because it's not gonna, movements don't pass because or big social change doesn't happen only when the time is right. That's what it seems like in history, but actually there have been decades of movement building happening before that was sort of underground, I guess, or not exactly in the papers or whatever. So just because the national level, and I can understand entirely why you'd want to focus more on like state stuff, because that is where single payer is going to happen first. But capacity building at the national level, even now, is not a lost cause or something that's not going to help us in the future. It is actually the process of getting us, maybe a decade into the future to eventually pass single payer. So that's all.
Thank you. I would go to ask now Owen to ask his question or comment, and then I'll proceed to Jeff, who's on the line as well. So Owen, go for it.
This is Runa. One idea I have had is to do more work around kind of doing like research and encouraging citizen research on the conflicts of interest in the healthcare industry, both like among the hospital industry, the insurance industry, and the pharmaceutical industry, and demonstrating how that is really impeding single payer. I work with an organization called littlesis.org, like Little Sister, that sort of does a lot of mapping of like the social and financial relationships between people in power to encourage citizens to organize, essentially. And so I've been thinking for a while about doing a project like this with respect to the healthcare system. There was somebody earlier on the call who talked about doing hackathons, and the organization Little Sis has been doing like similar like research hackathons in different cities. I don't know exactly if they call it that, but it's the same idea, encouraging people to kind of investigate the powers that be in their local communities on various issues. So one possible project would be developing that, and I think it's like a kind of a tech-heavy thing that it would require some help in terms of setting up like the right kind of web-based platform to do that kind of thing, and then distributing it to people and encouraging people to do the research at the local level.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to connect with Little Sis after this call. What you're doing sounds awesome, and I think that's called Wonkathon, policy Wonkathon. But thank you so much. Owen, please ask your question.
Can I, this is Ivan Miller. Can I add a comment?
I'll go for it.
Yeah, I apparently in the notes or getting through, judging by people's comments, I didn't make myself clear. We had a business calculator. Business calculators are easier to do than individual calculators. There's a huge saving for almost all business. They're a big winner, and that'll be part of my conversations with people about building calculators. So it has been built and it's important.
Awesome, thank you. And that is definitely noted. Owen, I'm unmuting you now. Please go ahead with your question.
Sure. So I just wrote up a really short doc, this platform that I built called All Rise. That part of the purpose of it is to help create order out of disorganization, or about, or organically people coming together and saying, we have a whole bunch of people that are passionate about some issue. How do we actually figure out what's the best way to address it? And if you look at, for example, Wikipedia and what it did to encyclopedic information, if we could have something that can do something similar on a larger scale for regular news and information, particularly for empowering the average community or a national issue-based campaign, I think that could help take conversations like the one that we're having and make it a bit more organized, a bit more poignant, and then allow everyone to be on the same page. So you're using this Google Doc right now to kind of organize and kind of note take as a minutes for what we've written, what we've said so far. If you go to the link that I have there, I kind of divided out 8 different sort of large buckets of what are things that technology can do to help activate and give more power to the people in the United States within a political sphere. So the ways that technology can help healthcare nationally in the United States, I think, is the same way technology can help almost any type of issue, because it really boils down to technology as a tool to empower people, to improve education and communication. So whatever that need for data is within the realm of either connecting to the government or an individual's ability to have access to their own medical records or information, or what information pertains to them or relates to their own particular situation or their state laws relating to medicine. Technology can do all of those things. And so it's good to, in sort of generic senses, try to categorize what are the different aspects of people on a grassroots level being empowered, and then taking those different elements and trying to see, based on the current scenario, the current political campaign, the current most important effort, let's say a bill that's about to be passed or not, which of these avenues is the best sort of short-term strategy that we could do? And is there, for example, like a hackathon that people could organize to try to, let's say, develop a tool for instantaneous activation of the user base if that tool does not already exist? So I posted this here in All Rise so you guys could look at it. Maybe that'll help add some context to the conversation. And if I'm not sure if that's necessarily a big question, but I think that having something like that would help. I don't know if you already have a list of sort of categorization of technology power that can then be applied towards this.
Thank you so much for that comment. I'm muting you now. And Jeff, let me know if you have any questions or not, since you're on the phone. I'll be unmuting you now. Jeff?
Thanks. It's been interesting hearing all the issues that you guys are running into. I would be curious, I heard somebody talking about distribution issues. If you are putting out content and any like media, whether it's written articles or videos or stuff on social feeds or however, how that's been working, and how you're getting stuff to the people who you're trying to get it to.
Anyone who wants to answer that? Runa or Stephanie? Okay, Runa.
And I guess
I'm sorry,
probably,
if you could say the question one more time.
Sure. So somebody was mentioning, distribution of content, and I was wondering, in terms of how, you're trying to get your message across, what you found effective. Is there unity between organizations with the same issues, or is it very separate? Are you partnering with other organizations to add numbers to your, distribution channels, or I'm just curious about how you're going about media and getting your message in front of the right people.
I guess one of the main questions as well is there a stress point in terms of the distribution, and is there any collaboration that you're doing right now? Stephanie?
Oh, sure. I was going to let you talk, Runa. Did you want to say something? Okay, I can go ahead. So you're basically asking, how are we getting our message in front of other people? Like, how are we messaging, or? Like?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are partnering with some big unions like National Nurses United and Our Revolution. We have this campaign running called the Campaign for Guaranteed Healthcare, and it was first formulated to fight back against the AHCA. And now that that's been defeated, we're sort of moving into the offensive strategy. So together with them, we're doing things like we're PNHP, the Physicians for a National Health Program. We're also part of our coalition there. Like, we all have like our specialties. So PNHP does press, and they're about to put out a press release about like our day of action. And then NNU and Progressive Democrats of America and Our Revolution are leveraging their organizations through. I mean, Our Revolution has a huge, database of Bernie supporters, and we also have like 40,000 or something like that. So our primary organizing tool is through email, but we also have like all of our the national nurses and Healthcare Nows, and we have our Facebook and Twitter, which have also been like exploding recently. Our social media reach. Is that what you're asking, or?
Yeah, I was wanting to get a sense, I guess, from the group in terms of what was, effective in terms of getting your message across, and also mainly around, partnering with other organizations. We from our side, we work with organizations and try to, partner with a couple that have the same issue or message, and then distribute it across like both of their organization's social channels to like amplify that message. We've seen like a lot of still organizations, even if they have the same issues, are very protective of their brand sometimes, or want it, to come from them. So we've found some, disconnect in terms of that, though it's becoming more and more common on our projects to have a couple organizations amplifying the same message.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely power, and that's why we kind of created this Campaign for Guaranteed Health, so like all of these healthcare and human rights organizations would be on the same page and doing the same messaging and all of that. And that has actually been really successful, especially in getting people's email addresses, because that's like for us where the real organizing happens, because once we have your email address and are in contact with you more consistently, then we can help organize you locally, which is, where it's where movement on this issue is really going to happen. So, Facebook and social media, those have been great for us, and we've like expanded our reach. But I think that the point for us of like Facebook and Twitter has been to move people from those social media platforms onto our email list, so we can further organize them and like deepen our relationship with them. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. That was great.
Runa, do you want to comment on that too?
I don't really have anything to add, except, I just remembered that I was talking to Katie, the ED in New York recently, and she was saying that she would love it if, someone could just redesign the webpage, which seems like a, very basic thing, but, so yeah. And I mean, just to give people some perspective, Katie is basically the only person who's, paid to do this work, in New York City, at least, as far as I know. So, the need is just so great. I feel it seems so ridiculous. I don't know. So having even just having someone sort of curating the social media once a week or at some minimal level would be amazing, or helping give support to that. Yeah.
Okay, this is really awesome because this gives us context on how we should reach out to folks in New York, because we have a really good reach in terms of technological support. Thank you, Runa. Do you want to comment as well on distribution? Okay, Pamela, you have a comment?
No.
Okay, no, Pamela, Pam?
Hi, I'm Pamela. I'm a volunteer staffer at ProgCode, and spent about a year and a half at the formation of the ACA working on, I co-founded a Facebook page called ACA Obamacare Success Stories, and wanted it to address a bunch of points that were brought up about the importance of social media outreach in telling the stories of the people who are seeing success as a result of having health care, for some of them the first time in their lives. We used the Facebook page to request stories about positive news about the ACA, turned every comment that was positive into an infographic meme, and then would post it on the page daily. And those things got circulated. We would highlight the state, or if you're doing a state action, you would highlight the district of the person writing in and include, as much of a name as they would be comfortable providing. But what happened was we became a resource for both the media in various states who wanted to report on the successes at a time when all we were hearing on the news was the failure of healthcare.gov to launch well. So we started to get calls from the media in the states who wanted to expand Medicaid and wanted to know all the list of all of the stories that we had curated on social media, say in Nebraska. And then we would just give them a zip file, and they would reach out to those people and contact them individually, and they would write articles. In some cases, they would interview them on local television stations. Then once that started happening, we started to receive outreach from politicians who were feeling pressure at home or who wanted to support healthcare initiatives and didn't feel they had the evidence to back it up. And so to Ivan's point about small businesses, really actually being not a detriment to this movement, but an amplification element, because we had people who would write in and say things like, I have been disabled for 15 years, and because I was able to finally get coverage under the pre-existing conditions option of ACA, I have since been able to start my own business. I employ, 5 or 6 people, and we do this, and we add X amount of revenue to the community every year. And then we'd have people who wrote in and said that they were stuck in horrible jobs that they hated because they were bound to the employer for healthcare coverage, and that once the ACA came out, they were able to leave that job and they were able to go to continue higher education or to start up another great new business, and they were contributing X amount to the tax base. So there are ways to leverage social media to really amplify your effort and to reach out to politicians and to media as well.
Thank you so much. Before we continue, I just wanted to say, because a lot of folks will be leaving by 7 p.m. Thank you so much, Ivan. Thank you so much, Runa and Stephanie and Michael and everyone for being here. We really appreciate this. This is not the last call we're going to make. We will be reaching out to you individually, but please feel free to leave as you need to. But if you're still here, we will keep on asking questions because this is such an amazing topic, and this is something that we are really see the importance of. And just to let you know that we were the ones behind the map or organizing tools from the Women's March, Indivisible, a lot of the aspects that we're able to engage very well with volunteers in order for them to know what to do. And we are going to try to use that energy and capacity that we have in terms of helping out your efforts as well. And we really need, and we're calling in the whole 1,000 volunteer coders that we have in order to push your goals to fruition. So thank you again so much for this. And yeah, before I guess I'm so sorry everyone, we have to stop. But any last words from Runa, if you could?
I guess like thank you for this opportunity. I heard about it like literally 20 minutes before it started. So I guess it would be wonderful if I could have the opportunity to maybe conference with like our executive director and come up with like a more well thought out like list of things we're working on. I don't know if you have any. Maybe I could talk to you offline about if and how that could work. But yeah, this was pretty amazing, and I am very excited to meet this group.
Thank you so much.
Continue working with you. Sure.
I would love to connect. We would love to connect offline as well. Thank you. Ivan.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, thank you very much for the call and, bringing the people together and your work. And if we could talk offline and be a little more concrete about, what kind of help might be available, that would be pretty exciting. We always need help, and particularly in technology, we need some help that's really dedicated just to making our organization work. So I'd like to follow up and thank you again for the call and the opportunity to get together.
Thank you. And finally, Stephanie.
Thank you again so much for, devoting your time to this. I think it's just so awesome. I thought that I heard some really interesting ideas today. I liked the business calculator. That in tandem with like on the ground organizing could be super powerful for getting like the business community on board. And also the social media, like telling the stories thing, there's Facebook. I think is also, a really powerful way of using social media to tell people stories. That's like something that we at Healthcare Now, want to do more of. And then also just to reiterate what Aruna said, like, Ben is the executive director at Healthcare Now. We're the only two people paid to do single payer work, like for the grassroots organization Healthcare Now. So, we're so spread thin over our job, and I'm supposed to be responsible for social media and email and admin and everything. And so I just, I end up doing all those things in a really half-assed way. So any help that, whether it's big or small, would be fantastic for us. So we're just a hugely underfunded organization, and we're not, reaching everybody we could because we don't have the resources to put into tech. So thanks again so much for having this call.
Thank you so much. And it would be awesome if we could bring this offline as well and drill down further on the needs and ways we could help too. Right. Anyone else? Final words, Joe, since you stuck last, if you could.
Just very interested in all of this. I think my question, and it's one probably just to take away for everybody, is thinking about what are the specific actions that people can take immediately. What are immediately to both help for the statewide things as well as long term. Because that'll be really interesting in pulling together what the potential solution looks like. But just as we were having this conversation, just my brain definitely spinning on all the amazing things. And I think there's a lot of great opportunities here.
Thank you so much. Right, and with that, I will end the call. It's 7 p.m. And again, thanks everyone for being here. And I'll be sharing the video as well. And have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.